The other day I was trying to do a live, in fact twice I've been trying to do a live broadcast from this area in Scadden Wash. That's just outside of Quartzsite in the Arizona desert, which is maybe 25 miles from the California border, so it's just inside of Arizona. And I tried to do those and discovered that I discovered that my picture would go through very easily. In other words, the picture was managed in terms of the live quite well, but the sound was very wobbly or blobbly. They told me I sounded like I was underwater. Anyway, I did that one day, and maybe you've seen that video, but then I tried to do another one the next day, and the same thing happened. I know that the sound works pretty good when I'm just sitting in front of it like this. And in fact, the first thing I'm going to do is test it. But for some reason, well, I shouldn't say for some reason, the obvious reason is that when I'm trying to do a live, YouTube seems to look after the video portion much easier than the sound portion. So the video may have been stitched together, or they might have some way of compressing it and make it work. But they didn't know, or they don't handle sound very well if the reception's not that good. So I will not be doing any lives from this location anymore. And I've tried to position myself so that you can see a beautiful sunset back here as I talk, but I have to sit where I can avoid the sun's glare in the camera. And oh man, that's worse. Anyway, probably there it'll work, so that you can see me while I'm talking to you. And I'm going to spend a lot of time. I'm going to break it up in little pieces. I'll think of something to say, come over and say it. But as time goes by, you're going to see that sunset. You're going to see, all of a sudden there's going to be color back there, and then you'll basically see the color that I see with the sun setting. And with those clouds, it should be, and behind this tree, it should be very exciting, in fact. I know I'm not exciting, but that sunset should be. I wanted to talk to you about what it's like to live in a desert all by yourself, but also with a bunch of other friends, etc., or people around you that may or may. In this case, we are all meeting in the desert for a time frame around the RTR, the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, which used to last year we were camped in more or less the same spot last year, but we were essentially all camped together, and very few of us went to the seminars within the RTR, even though they were a few hundred feet away. Now those seminars and workshops are at the RTR, but the RTR is being held in a fairground about 30 miles from here. It's 20-ish miles to Quartzsite, and then it's 7 or 8 miles here. So it's probably at least 50 miles return for me to go to a workshop. And as I said, when I was 200 feet away, I didn't go to too many. So I don't anticipate going to too many of the workshops or going to the fairgrounds. I may go one day because I'm a YouTuber, and it's something of interest to my audience, but it's of very little interest to me. My experience at the RTR has all been about meeting people. It hasn't, and I think that was the original intent of it. Then it grew, and there became seminars and workshops, and a very large crowd. So last year there was roughly 10,000 people, 10,000 motorhomes more or less, that came and went. They weren't necessarily all here at the same time, but they were within the vicinity, not close enough for people to ride bikes and or walk to the workshops. That's not possible this year, so I don't expect any real crowds at the RTR event, but I may see some YouTubers that will prove me wrong, and I hope so, actually. I would like to see the RTR succeed, but what it has succeeded in, from my perspective already, in that it brought a lot of people together in one area at a certain time of the year. And what's happening here now at a camp we call Hobotech's camp is the same people who were in that camp came back to the same camp this year, and many more people are joining with us. So we actually have larger campfires and a more interesting group this year than we did last year. So our little Hobotech camp is growing. Well, I made myself a cup of coffee because the sun's not going down fast enough. It's nice. I've been drinking a lot of coffee shop coffees, and this time I bought myself a bag of freshly ground Sumatra, which I used to like. Thought I'd try it again. It doesn't seem to be as strong as it should be, or as I would like it to be. So I'm not sure. I'll probably simply have to use more coffee when I'm making it, or less cream, because I put a lot of cream in it. So what I wanted to talk to you about while the sun's going down is the the difference between driving around on your own, camping. I mean, I often meet people, and if I'm camping near somebody, I meet them. But this experience is kind of interesting because I'm in an area, I'm parked with two other YouTubers that are very popular compared to me. That's Saznak. You should go and follow these guys, Saznak and Hobotech. They both have 10 times as many followers or subscribers as I have, but go follow them if you haven't heard of them before. But people will come to visit them, they'll come to visit me. Some of them come to visit me and then find out about Saznak and Hobotech, but it's usually the other way around. Well, I've got today I got up, I made myself a coffee, and after my coffee I started to work on this chair. In fact, this chair that I'm sitting in had, you can't see it, but in fact there's no point in you seeing it. I had to, one of the bolts in it broke, so I had to drill a hole and put a new bolt in, and then re-string the wires that go across, or the support pieces. These are the support pieces. They look like this. You know, after a while I figured out how to do that. So I had slept in, and then I fixed my chair, and then somebody came over to talk to me and then mentioned he was having trouble with his solar system, so I went to help him with that. Then I came back, and some of the people I know came over, and we talked for a little while. Then somebody I hadn't met, or a few people I hadn't met, came over to chit-chat. This is all great. This is what I'm saying is not meant to complain. I like those people coming around, and it's very enjoyable. But what happens to my day is that I get up, I fix my chair, which took me about an hour, and here it is, sunset. And all I've done is made some wraps for my lunch, and made myself a coffee. I don't know if you can hear me behind my cup, but anyway, I made myself a coffee in case you didn't hear that. And so my days when I'm by myself, I can do whatever I want if I'm in a location that enables me to kind of camp. In other words, take things out of my bus and fix them. Like, I can't really fix my chair in a lot of places because it's sort of too public. I guess I could, but I'm just sort of not motivated to do it. So now I've got to clean my bus. This was the intent, was to clean my bus so that I could have people who did come tour my bus, and I'd be able to show some bus tours. But all I've done is wash my dishes. And I did that yesterday. So it's kind of, I had a lot of dishes that I hadn't washed yet. They were in a bucket waiting for water, and waiting, like a sink, waiting for water and waiting to be washed. But so I got them washed yesterday, and now that I have a tub of water that I can reuse, I can basically wash the dishes really quickly every day. But that's not always the case when you're traveling and moving around a lot. And it's not necessarily you can't really dump out the dirty water when you're in a city. So anyway, my opportunity is right now to do a lot of chores. and my day gets used up. Just gets used up socially, which is a wonderful thing, but it kind of ruins the opportunity to get chores done. Remember, I'm still waiting for that sunset to happen back there, but it's going down, sun's going down, so I need to put on a jacket because it's getting a little bit cold now for sitting around in a shirt. And I'm making some eggs. I've got a frying pan on the stove, and some eggs are cooking. So in a moment I'll come back, be eating my eggs, and be able to talk to you more about what it's like at this campsite. I'm going to turn the camera around really quick, give you an idea where I'm camped. There's a few people hanging around. We got a campfire set up in the middle, and we're reasonable distance apart from each other. So let's see what happens to that sunset in a minute after I get my eggs. Isn't that fun how the tree is sort of just there, and then all of a sudden I step back or lean back and the trees, you can see the tree. There's my eggs. I cooked 8 eggs this time because that's what was in the carton. I can't see keeping the carton if there's only 2 eggs in it. Anyway, this is it. I'm eating eggs. Well, sitting there talking to you, trying to show you the sunset, does not work, so I'm just walked a little bit away from the truck to give you an idea of what it's looking like behind me. And that's what I wanted for a background, but I'm gonna have to figure out some lighting and how to set the phone up for a manual exposure more easily. Anyway, there's my bus. Here's our Hobotech camp. You can see the campfire. And really what I wanted to say about this experience, getting together with other nomads, is incredibly interesting, incredibly fun, well worthwhile. If any of you want to come join us, or you get an opportunity to join another camp like this, another group like this that gets together for friendship, camaraderie, and to share some love. A lot of them are pretty conservative, so I'm not sure they like the idea of me saying share some love, but that's what we're doing. So I'll see you tomorrow, and maybe I'll go and visit another campsite and start doing some van tours and things like that. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.